Hi, I'm Jason Weiss, Vice President of Cloud Platform and Applications here at SmartTrack. If you're a developer and you're looking for an IoT platform, I encourage you to sit through this presentation and make your own determination about the viability of using the Smart Cosmos platform on your next project. Enterprises are looking to accelerate value creation. The way that they can do that is through cutting-edge solutions around the Internet of Things. Smart Cosmos was purposefully built to be an IoT platform. Our 4 simple steps of embed, enrich, affect, and explore make it easy for developers like yourself to create compelling and innovative IoT solutions. We encourage you now to explore, create, and sell through the Smart Cosmos market. I have no doubt that together we can monetize the IoT. Let's consider for a moment the raw materials that every enterprise has accessible to it. At the heart of it, we see things. Many companies make something. They're manufacturers, for example, or they're a global brand and they design things that are made elsewhere. These things comprise anything from simple analog gears, to clothing, to pharmaceuticals, to boxes, to pillows. Anything and everything that we use in everyday life could be classified as a thing that an enterprise somewhere designs, makes, and sells. Whether it's the design process, the manufacturing process, or even a sales process. From the smallest company to the largest enterprise, processes define how things get done during each business day. In fact, all of these processes typically interact with people. People are the most valuable resource of virtually every enterprise out there. The ability to hire, retain, and utilize smart, creative, and intelligent teams can often be the determining factor of the success of an enterprise and how it leverages the other raw materials at its disposal. As things are designed and created and manufactured by people operating within the processes defined by the enterprise, data is created. Today, data represents the difference between those that are great companies and those that are amazing companies. The ability to harvest and accelerate value creation out of the data accessible to the enterprise is something on the mind of everybody in the C-suite level. Arguably, the primary goal of every enterprise is to accelerate value creation from the raw materials at its disposal to enhance shareholder value. Right now, you might be asking yourself, what does any of this accelerated value creation have to do with the Internet of Things? Well, the Internet of Things is just a creative blend of low-cost sensing hardware, auto-identification technologies in the cloud, combined with all of the everyday resources that we see here of things, process, people, and data. This blending presents limitless opportunities for the enterprise. The question is, how do you capture and harness some of these opportunities and bring them to the market? More importantly, even if you can bring the opportunity to the market, how do you make money off of it? After all, every business exists to make money. And that's where Smart Cosmos comes in. Smart Cosmos is all about monetizing the Internet of Things. When we step back and look at the 3 ingredients of cloud, sensors, and auto-identification technologies, the confluence of where these 3 meet represent the Internet of Things. Smart Cosmos was built and designed to be cloud agnostic. What this means is that Smart Cosmos can perform cloud pivots. It can utilize different infrastructure as a service providers and allow enterprises to leverage their existing investments in infrastructure as a service. But Smart Cosmos doesn't stop with just being cloud agnostic. It's also designed to be low-cost sensor agnostic. In fact, The platform is capable of handling data streamed from virtually every type of sensor that exists, whether it's an environmental sensor or an infrared sensor, and of course, RFID readers. Finally, Smart Cosmos is also Auto ID agnostic. It can work equally well with everything from barcodes to vehicle identification numbers, from license plates to 2D barcodes. But by default, the system is tuned specifically to work out of the box best with RFID tags. We are, after all, the world's largest manufacturer of RFID technologies. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we should take a moment and explore Smart Cosmos as an entire IoT mashup ecosystem. Profiles is software as a service that is always hosted by SmartTrack in our cloud. Profiles is connected to our global footprint of RFID manufacturing facilities. Profiles is the first of our 4 steps toward IoT success. It's the embed step. By taking an RFID transponder, a passive RFID tag, and associating that with literally any type of object or thing that's out there, we can provide a connection between normal everyday items like clothes and sneakers, boxes, electronics, to the internet. This embed step is critical because it creates the connection that allows the Internet of Things to be fully realized. The next step in the process is known as ENRICH, and we have a platform as a service called Objects that supports the ENRICH portion of the IoT mashup recipe. Metadata is exploding around the internet. If you think about the manufacturing of any everyday item, you have the actual company that designed it, who may be working with a third-party resource that's actually manufacturing it overseas, who then hands it off to another company that does the actual distribution before that product ultimately makes its way to a retailer. If it happens to be something like a pharmaceutical or alcohol, there's a good chance that there are also federal or governmental regulations associated with that product. Finally, a consumer is going to purchase that product. At each step, we see additional metadata being generated that can provide the overall value to an enterprise and to the consumer. But where do you aggregate this data? Nobody wants to take every SAP system and make them publicly available to run apps on a mobile smartphone. You need a consolidation point, and that's what Objects is all about. Objects is arguably the core of the Smart Cosmos platform because it's so extensible, it's so flexible. It leverages high-order data types to be able to collect virtually any type of data about any type of product and enrich that data by aggregating disparate sources together and making it easily accessible at the edge of the cloud. But aggregating data in and of itself does not accelerate value creation. Remember our raw ingredients. At some point in time, processes have to kick off. When we look at these processes around the enterprise, we need a way to describe them and to manage them. Enter Smart Cosmos Flows, another platform as a service that's available to developers. The Flows platform uses the OMG BPMN 2.0 open standard for defining workflow solutions. What makes the BPMN 2.0 specification so powerful is that it encompasses not only automated workflow, but workflow that require human intervention at any point along the process. We call this step effect. You need to be able to take the embedded object, aggregate the data and enrich it, and then affect the outcome at the next level with a workflow solution. At the end of the day, or at the end of the month, or at the end of the quarter, businesses need to be able to dig into the data that they've aggregated. They need to be able to look for trends. They need to see what can't normally be seen. To do that, they need the ability to explore. Smart Cosmos in and of itself was not designed explicitly to be an analytics platform. There are lots of expert companies on the market today that already provide cutting-edge big data analytics and dashboard applications. Instead, Smart Cosmos was designed to integrate seamlessly with these existing analytics companies. By streaming and integrating across the objects and flows platforms into an analytics provider, companies are able to see the things that they aren't able to normally see with the naked eye. They're able to run their in-depth analyses, and they're able to create dashboards that assist them in running their business and accelerating that value that we were talking about. Having that analytical insight is one thing, but being able to extend that insight and to create long-lasting relationships with consumers can be challenging. And that's where Smart Cosmos Experiences comes into play. Experiences is all about the consumer experience, the consumer engagement, what happens from the time of the point of sale forward. Often enterprises lose track of their customers once they walk out of the door and they complete their transaction. It doesn't have to be that way. When you look at an object that has been successfully embedded, it's possible to create long-lasting experiences with the consumers after the point of sale. Maybe you're asking what is required to amass all of these different software as a service and platform as a service offerings together to actually implement the IoT mashup. Well, that's where we have the Smart Cosmos market. The market is all about combining and unifying and bringing together IoT-oriented buyers and sellers into a single location. When we think about the IoT market, we think about the equivalent of the smartphone app stores that exist out there today, except on a much grander scale. Now we're talking about a market that looks at providing value across the enterprise as opposed to a market that's focused only on the consumer. To get to the Smart Cosmos market, we've created a certified ecosystem. This ecosystem includes certified engineers that complete training at lessons.smart-cosmos.com. This curriculum offers developers an extensive and in-depth review of the Smart Cosmos ecosystem. It provides insight into how to build with best practices and to realize your vision as a developer of your IoT mashup. The Smart Cosmos certified ecosystem also includes partners as well as technology providers. These two programs allow system integrators and hardware manufacturers to also certify that their services or hardware works natively out of the box with the Smart Cosmos ecosystem, further accelerating the development of your innovative solution. So if we pause here for a moment and recap, as a developer, there are 4 simple steps to monetize the IoT. We need to embed and leverage the technology associated with auto-identification technologies through the Profiles platform. We need to enrich and aggregate data from disparate sources and move that to the edge of the cloud using Smart Cosmos objects. We need to affect that data in ways that align with enterprise processes. And finally, we need to explore the outcome of this entire ecosystem with big data analytics and leverage that insight to accelerate value creation. As a software developer, you can rest assured, no pun intended, that the REST web services that sit atop of each of these services are easy to use, well documented, clearly thought out, and accessible regardless of your programming environment. So to recap, Smart Cosmos Profiles is about managing the identity and the product authentication services associated with RFID transponders. This data is delivered via the cloud, and the embed step allows ordinary everyday objects to participate in the IoT by leveraging the power of passive transponders. Objects, was designed to capture all sorts of data about the people, products, and sensors used across your environment, both inside your organization and outside. By capturing these complex relationships and recurring interactions between them, regardless of the actual originator of the metadata, we can enrich the environment by aggregating all of this data into a singular point of reference at the edge of the cloud. The ability to respond to low-cost sensor events, as well as aggregating data in near real-time using open standard workflow definitions designed by BPMN 2.0, mean that it's possible to combine all of the power of profiles, objects, and flows to drive business decisions in a pace that exceeds that of your competition. But what if the volume of data is measured in hundreds or thousands of events per second, and not every one of those events needs to trigger a workflow? Well, Smart Cosmos has partners like Machine Shop who have the ability to aggregate this data and only trigger events when it makes sense. Conceptually, we can think of them as reducing the pipe size. They can consume the thousands of events per second, but then trigger the 4 or 5 events per hour that actually respond with a BPMN 2.0 workflow from inside of flows. By streaming the events in real time to third-party big data systems, you can then explore what the data has to tell you about your business operations. Visualizing the complexities of the IoT are particularly challenging. This is because of the number of data points that are growing from everyday items. If every single pair of sneakers has the ability to interact with the Internet of Things, think about the amount of data that's being generated. We've already partnered here at SmartTrack with leading analytics services like Keen.io to provide that insight in simple, easy-to-use and visualize dashboard technology. With experiences, it's possible to transform the point of sale from the end of the relationship to the beginning of the relationship. Experiences can help your brand create long, recurring, dynamic, and truly interactive relationships with your customers long past the completion of the point of sale. Perhaps you're thinking that all of this is great and powerful, but ultimately it's about being able to manage the flood of data in an IoT mashup. You're absolutely right, and that's why we've designed objects to use a hybrid metaphor that is a combination of old-school relational and cutting-edge NoSQL. The design metaphor consists of objects, relationships, and interactions. Here we can see what an object looks like. The object can be defined with strongly typed metadata, geospatial data, social media constructs like timelines and hashtags, devices, even rich multimedia files can be associated with this object at the edge of the cloud. Mirroring real life, every object will have relationships with other objects. The ability to capture these relationships is crucial in an IoT environment. The Internet of Things is all about sensors. So how do you actually capture and model that there's a relationship between an object and a sensor? Well, the ability in Smart Cosmos objects to use the same sort of data types that we just described with an object, but to associate those data types with a relationship means that it's possible to take this yes or no existence to a higher order. Now we can actually see when the relationship started on the relationships timeline. We can look at details about the relationship by exploring the relationships geospatial data or the relationships strongly typed metadata. The final piece to the metaphor is the interaction, which allows us to capture and record all of the data associated with the daily interactions between any of the objects and their low-cost sensors. For example, an interaction could capture everything from a vehicle travel log to the comings and goings of employees through a secured facility. The transformation of an IoT ecosystem into a vision for IoT monetization can be described as explore, create, and sell. As a software developer, you need the ability to explore in depth the IoT platform that's been presented here. To help you with that journey, we've created Smart Cosmos Lessons and the Smart Cosmos Certified Engineer program. We offer a complete curriculum at our learning portal, lessons.smart-cosmos.com. There, you can decide whether you're an extension developer looking to sell in the Smart Cosmos market, or if you're a solutions architect or DevOps or admin type looking to buy and leverage the technology in the market. The first start of any process is to make sure that you understand the full capabilities and to design a solution that will work for your end-to-end goals, hence the explore part. After you're done exploring, now comes the hard work. You need to build something compelling. Whether you're a seller in the Smart Cosmos market or you're a buyer, your journey doesn't end in the Smart Cosmos market. Instead, it just begins. The ability to design with expansion in mind, the ability to leverage cloud pivots, the ability to create and innovate brand new applications and to bring those to market with your brand on your URL requires a lot of hard work. The creation step is required, but once you're done with it, if you've created something compelling, you can certify that technology with Smart Cosmos. The Smart Cosmos market has advantages for both buyers and sellers. For sellers, they have full control over the price models that they utilize. These recurring models might be everything from offering the first 3 months for free and then $9.95 a month thereafter, or a discounted rate of $7.95 for a whole year of service. The ability to design and control the price model allows the developers to explore exactly what the market is willing to pay for their certified technology. For buyers, you have the ability to look for certified technology as well as leverage certified partners or system integrators to deploy a Smart Cosmos-backed solution into your enterprise. Are you ready to take the next step and monetize the Internet of Things? We encourage you to discover Smart Cosmos, explore, create, sell. You can get started on your journey today by visiting www.smart-cosmos.com.